Now, I want to, as we get started, hear from you. What's something unexpected or fun that listeners may not be able to find in your bio about you?
Zero people would expect that I lived in China for 12 years, married to my wife, that both of our kids were made in China, and that my previous online business, which the pandemic decimated, was actually teaching Mandarin Chinese to expats, foreigners who were working in China.
Okay, that is super unique. So, I want to dive into this a little bit because I want to hear a little about your journey. I'm interested to know what got you into the meta ad space. What was the first ad you ran? But I think it all starts back to when you were teaching Mandarin, even. So, what got you into that kind of role and into actually being in China?
Survival got me into meta ads, and the full context is that I was running them for my previous online business teaching Chinese the wrong way. Imagine my wife and I sitting in the capital of China, Beijing. We're overlooking a pretty busy shopping street and we're enjoying a meal. It was probably a visa-related trip, but the unique thing that happened during this meal was it was the first time my wife experienced just how famous I was in China. And so we're eating, and then I hear giggling. I look over several tables, and it's like these two Russian girls, and they've spotted me. And I can tell what's going on. They're going to make an approach and ask for a picture, as people usually did with me in China. But my wife is like, "What's going on?" I'm like, "Well, you'll see in a moment." And so they came over and, I introduced them to my wife, but what they said was key here. They're like, "You are that elementary Chinese guy." And elementary Chinese was the name of my Chinese teaching business. And I had done the wrong things with Facebook and Instagram ads that many people that I like to help now are doing, which is why I want to help them do it the right way. The wrong way was I took ads and I boosted popular posts on my Instagram account. And Gabe, it felt good. The reason these girls knew me was because back in 2017, 2018, I had already grown my Instagram account to like somewhere around 30,000 subscribe or followers, which back then was decently big. And it was in a very small niche, teaching Mandarin Chinese. And so I would say conservatively, like 3 out of 10 like foreigners, expats, like could recognize my face in China because I was always showing up on their Instagram and Facebook feeds and stories with crazy Chinese videos. And it was cool, right? And so these girls left, they got their selfie, and basically it was just another ego thing for me. It didn't line my that business pockets with clients or money because I wish that all of those 30,000, 27,000 subscribers, would turn into customers, but that wasn't the case. And so transitioning into Mexico, I effectively paid for a mastermind group coaching program, learned how to grow that previous business the right way, and it wasn't based on ads, but I did leverage my social media following. And then we had the bright idea to go to Mexico and learn Spanish. Well, I needed to learn Spanish. My wife already spoke fluently, and she was speaking Spanish to our two very young kids at the time. And I didn't want to be left out because we all already spoke Mandarin to them. And so I convinced her we could go to Mexico, and we did. And that happened to be 2 weeks before the pandemic started. Then we got stranded in Mexico and we were never able to return to China again. And I'll stop there because I feel like you're probably going to ask a few more questions.
It's good that you got to Mexico before the pandemic, but then you were stranded there. Didn't know anybody really, like having to find a new community and all the things as well. Oh goodness. So I'm curious too, when you moved to Mexico, were
Mm.
you still teaching Mandarin? Did you shift to Spanish? What was the business? What did it look like? What were you doing?
Ah, how I ended up in Meta, Facebook, and Instagram ads. So when we arrived into Mexico, it was vacation for like 2 weeks, very happy. The sun was shining, the guacamole was very tasty. And then the pandemic broke out. We quarantined. I was still teaching Mandarin Chinese, but what I need to explain here is the quarantine in China was severe. Many news outlets used the word draconian, and that just meant that one person per family per week could leave their, condo, their house to go shopping. Most stores were closed down. It was a very severe type of quarantine. And so my method for teaching Mandarin was a very social method, a communicative method with Chinese people in the local community. And so basically my course sales, my group coaching program sales stopped. And I was booking these probably one group coaching to two group coaching sessions. They were like 6 weeks long, uh, out in advance. And so I had to give all of a sudden a lot of refunds. And yeah, it stopped in the water. I spent, like, thank God, we had about 2 years of emergency fund, as in like zero income, and we could survive for 2 years because we had built that up. But the pandemic basically took all of that. So the business was bleeding for about a year and a half, and how before I had to end it. And that time was just a lot of praying and a lot of tears. Like, to sum it up, we were at one point, after being in Mexico for 6 months, when the pandemic started, then we were at our in-laws, my wife's parents' house, living in the basement for like a summer while we had to come to terms with not being able to go back to China. We never had got to say goodbye to our friends. So like at the International Christian Fellowship that we were planted in, serving in, we never got to say goodbye to anyone. And we had one check-in luggage and a couple of carry-ons. And we just realized we couldn't go back to renew the business and then the business visas for another year. We couldn't go back to continue our lease. We were stuck. And at that
Mm.
point, it was walking in figure eights in my in-laws' very big basement. Figure eights because every morning it was lots of prayer and lots of crying, and you don't get dizzy when you walk in figure eights, but as you do when you walk in a circle. Um, at that point, fall of 2020 was when I started basically begging people for jobs because I had been running my own business for so long and I was stuck in Mexico. And I actually found a part-time job in a Facebook and Instagram ads agency, serving very established course creators and some membership owners. And then the other job that I got was inside of the group coaching program that I had previously paid for, back in 2019. And so now, or then, I was a coach inside of this group coaching program, catering to, serving established online course creators. So both of my part-time jobs, as I was literally trying to hold our lives together, were serving online course creators, on the low end, like 300,000 gross annual revenue, on the high end, somewhere around 1.6, 1.7. And I was coaching them in ads, literally taking what I was learning from running ads in the agency and coaching them, or sometimes their teams, because most of them ran ads. And then I was also coaching them in how to build a better team and really looking into their sales funnels, funnel analytics, all the things that allow you to serve more people more profitably.
Mm. See, what I love about this story too is that you could have essentially walked away defeated and, gotten down low, not doing anything about it, or just decided I'm just going to get a regular job, do the 9 to 5 thing. But what I think is cool too is that it's like God directed your steps to go into these couple of places to see that this is like a passion that can be yours and you can be on a mission to help serve others in this unique way. So
Yeah,
I think that's really, really cool.
it's cool now.
Yeah.
Then, I mean, as a fellow Christian, I'm sure you get it. Like, then it literally was a walk of faith. The prayers at that point were not pretty. They were like, I can see the bank accounts dwindling. There is no income. Lord Jesus, you're my provider. I'm like calling on the names of God, like, you're Jehovah Jireh, you're my provider. Like, we need provision because it's pretty dire straits right now. Like, yeah.
It's
Tough times.
totally trust without borders, like you were in that moment for sure.
Mhm.
So tell me a little bit about now you're in these two roles, helping others with their meta ads. How did the experience from running ads the wrong way when you were running them for the Mandarin business actually help shape the way that you helped others in those two places?
It's really straightforward. I probably spent happily so. Maybe my wife wasn't so happy about it, but $7 to $9,000 on ads. And if, like, dear listener, right now, if you're listening and you've boosted an Instagram post, you know just how far that can go as far as follows and all the things that we like, the hearts and the shares on our posts, right? But like I touched upon, that didn't bring me many customers. And so now I'm just really against it. And I help online course creators run ads the right way, looking holistically at their offer, starting with the phrase that I always say, which is that Jesus saves and Facebook and Instagram ads do not, i.e., more eyeballs on a poor offer does not a healthy business make. And so if the offer's working organically, then I literally work on the back end of people's businesses running ads in a healthy way to their lead magnet, helping them if they don't already do it themselves. Many already do know how much a lead should cost and then how much profit they can make per lead in their launches. But that's what I focus on now. And some one-on-one coaching to help people who aren't ready to hire an ads manager, but still have an offer that's working and just need to understand the numbers behind running ads. Not the game, the numbers.
Hmm. I like how you pointed that out because I know that a lot of entrepreneurs are like, I want to jump into ads. Ads are going to build my business. They're going to give me the visibility, but they may not if your offer isn't connecting, if your offer isn't converting. So I like how you talked about that organic piece. I'd love to dive a little more into that. How long, and this probably is not quantifiable exactly, but how long should an offer be running organically? How should we see it converting before jumping into meta ads?
So, not everyone's offer or journey is equal. It's not a matter of how long the offer is running. It's the matter of how profitably is it selling. Some of us get well, I don't even want to say fortunate or lucky. There are very few people that get lucky. Some of us put in a lot of work on the messaging because it's usually the messaging. Like most online course creators, we have something that we're passionate about and good at serving people with. We just have to communicate it right. Make sure that they understand that one, we can help them, two, that we're the right person to help them because there's like, for example, me, there's many Meta and Facebook, Instagram, you know, ad people, right? But what makes me right as far as how do we connect? What do we believe in? This sort of thing. We have to communicate that, and we have to make sure to kind of test to flesh out the pain points that we help solve, but really the ones that resonate the most and communicate. All that is to say that once the messaging is dialed in, that can happen really quick, or it can take a year, depending on just how slow we are. I was super slow for my first business before the messaging got dialed in. But what really matters is the offer selling? And when I say selling well, I just mean whatever the method is, that could be posting Instagram stories and telling people to DM you, and then you're selling in the DMs. I did that personally for my group coaching program. Works great. It could be the very traditional we're getting folks onto our email list either because we're participating in, like, let's say, bundles where multiple people are in a bundle and we all promote the same bundle and thus we all get leads who opt in for our part of the bundle, or we're doing like cross promotion, like I promote your thing to my email list and you promote my thing to your email list, however it is that we're growing, and then we're doing a launch, 2 or 3 times a year. uh, we just need to be tracking the numbers and is that offer selling really well? And if it is, we can go a step further and say, okay, how many leads did we show the offer to for a webinar? That would be how many leads signed up and then how much revenue was generated. We divide leads by revenue and we get this very informative number called an earnings per lead, and that helps us gauge like if we're making this much, let's say $50, $20 per lead, then how much can we begin to ponder we could acquire a lead for with ads? Maybe it's $5 a lead, but we're paying, but we're making $20 per lead, and we play in that area of profit.
Hmm, that makes a lot of sense. Now, as far as getting started with ads, I know a lot of entrepreneurs are like, I don't have a budget for that, but I want to test the waters. I have this offer, it's working, it's converting. I'm scared to pay to play. Do
Mm.
you have any like low budget strategies that can still offer results when someone is getting started so they can kind of test the waters and then kind of see if they want to go all in with ads?
Yeah. And the answer is no kind of low budget. Uh, I would recommend a healthy dose of wisdom and reality, which is you're guaranteed to lose money on ads. That's the reality. I I do preach ads, I guess, for a living. However, I never preach that it's the only way to make money in your business. And if you are going to start Facebook ads, understand that you are guaranteed to lose money because if you're going to do the work, Thomas Edison said that we miss out on opportunity because it's dressed in overalls and it looks like work. And if you're going to do the work to have Facebook and Instagram ads grow your business like you had hoped, that means you'll put in time testing different ad copy and different creative. And the thing about testing is that it doesn't all work. Some of it does not work. And you usually have to test through some things that don't work to find the stuff that does work. And so, thus, on the way to that, just prepare to lose money. If you set your expectations there, then you won't be shocked. And the wisdom is since your offer is already selling well organically, and we're coming from that place of profit in our business, save up some money or just earmark some money. I would say $1,000 first. And then plan on spending $30 a day for about a month, right? Say, I will not go past $1,000 until I know that I'm getting some profit, and I do dedicate to spending the time that's needed to come up with several different versions of ad copy, to come up with, 3 different videos that I'm going to test, and like 7 different graphics to do the work. That way, I kind of increase my chances of getting to the profitable part of ads because I can just put in that work. I can front load that work. And that is what I would say to any listener who, like, if your offer is already selling, get ready with that approach and you'll limit your chances for failure because there's always a chance of failure. That's the risk. We accept that. We smile at it even as business owners, but we want to limit the chances of failure and increase the chances of success with Facebook and Instagram ads. And what I just said would go a long way. And there's an important mental part here too, Gabe, which is that we don't want to operate from a place of desperation. um, that's why we don't want to try to have Facebook and Instagram ads be something that we're looking to save our business,
Hmm.
um, because we don't want to just have to resort to a hope and a prayer. I believe in a hope and a prayer, obviously, but that's not a Facebook and Instagram ad strategy. And when we are betting our last buck, so to speak, we tend to make decisions that aren't wise. And so we don't want to come from that place with Facebook and Instagram ads.
Mm, makes so much sense. There is a lot of mindset that goes along with that. I think we could dive even deeper into that today.
Wherever you
I
want to go with it.
I am curious too. What was the point where you decided to go off on your own and leave the other two roles and do your own thing? And what challenges came with that?
Oof, the challenges. Let's start with the point. It was about fall of 2022. The gentleman who employed me to coach inside of his like high level coaching program slash mastermind, he was already sensing that he would make a change in his business. I talked about starting off this journey at the depths of like our crisis. Well, I didn't start it there, but there was lots of praying and it sucked. But I can see how God directed it all, as in connected the dots and guided me here, because who has a boss that says, you know what? I'm thinking about sunsetting this business. Why don't I start, since I know that you work at another Facebook ads agency, why don't, and you serve the same kind of clients that you're coaching inside of my group coaching program, and I'm probably going to sunset this whole deal in, 8 months to a year. Why don't I start like referring clients to you? And why don't you start doing this as your own business? That is what happened. Not everyone's fortunate to start like that, but that is how I got started, is he encouraged me, and then he started sending clients to me. So I got my first 7 clients, um, basically overnight. When I say overnight, that's with invisible air quotes, and that means within 8 weeks, 2 months,
Mhm.
from 0 to 7. And it was tough. It was great. We were super happy, my wife and I, but at the same time, it was tough because you don't just scale from 0 personal clients to 7 clients while still working 2 part-time jobs, even if you have no other jobs. What are the systems? How are we guaranteeing that when a client starts working with you, other than charm, what are the systems that are going to guarantee a smooth, like, and delightful onboarding process? How are we going to set up our day to handle the customer service part of being a service-based business? Um, and how are we going to organize things? Project management tools, client management tools, so that it all just sticks together. Like, I had to figure that out. Um, on my own in those first 2 months. And a lot of the challenges were wrapped up in that.
Mm. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. It sounds great. Like, ooh, my business is already growing. Great. I have all these clients, but now what do we do? Now, how do we scale from here? Right.
Mhm.
So, yeah, that would be a huge challenge. A challenge that I think a lot of people would be like, I would love that challenge.
You want
But
to know another challenge?
yeah.
I didn't expect it then, but what happened was my business, it was lopsided. I had no marketing of my own. And so it was good for the first, let's say those 2 months pretty much maxed me out because I still had both part-time jobs. And so now let's fast forward to the next year, 2023, heading into like March. Then I started to experience like my first, I guess, wave of churn, so to speak. And then it was like, wow, am I going to get new clients? Uh-oh. I don't actually have any marketing systems, any sales systems. Oh, shoot. I've had some discovery calls, but the previous clients or people I had on those calls were very warm, and they were coming from a very respected and trusted name. And so it was really easy to start working with them. But now we're having people, a trickle of people, not enough, who don't know me, who didn't know the guy who was referring me, my first client. And so all of a sudden I had to learn how to have a proper discovery call, strategy call, sales call, if you will. And then I had to start figuring out marketing in addition to, at that point, working the part-time jobs a little less, but still servicing like more than a handful of clients. And so yeah, there was plenty of challenges in the beginning.
What would you say was the number one marketing strategy that ended up working for you?
The number one, the number one is still word of mouth. Um, so providing good service and getting referrals that way. But the very close number two actually brings us to another topic. I don't know how far you want to go into this, but I actually ended up acquiring a podcast, because as part of that business that was being sunset by my former boss. There was also like the podcast that I own now, that I'm the host of, the Art of Online Business podcast. It had been running for 10 years, had it was the primary lead gen source for my former boss's business. He was the host. And so it was becoming very clear the date was, right around the corner for sunsetting the business, and he was going to get rid of the podcast and let it go. So I acquired that. And then that also was a source of leads. And so word of mouth and the podcast, both of those provided a good number of leads over, let's say, because that's from 2023 until probably the end of 2024, because now we're in 2025. And in 2025, I've changed it up and started doing what I see a lot of other successful people doing, which is showing up at conferences, um, and meeting new people to work with that way or advise that way because I've realized, and this is not my own idea, somebody told it to me and it made sense. As a service-based business owner, I'm providing a service and I'm selling a service, right? But most of the time where I had failed and where many people fail is we try to sell people twice. One time, the first time we sell them is to believe that they need to invest in their own business. And then the second time we sell them or have to sell them is that we are the person that they need to, work with to invest in their business. And that's a very tough way to do it. But then what I learned was if I go to conferences, then I don't have to sell the people I meet twice because people that are already paying 500 on the low end, you know, $2,000 on the high end to attend a conference, plus the plane ticket, plus the whole hotel fees, they already get that they need to invest in their business to grow. So therefore, like you're already putting yourself around somebody who has, I won't say a higher caliber business because in that terminology also says, oh, there's lower caliber businesses. And we get into that less than mentality. And I don't think like certain businesses are less than others, but if you're looking for a business that is can afford your services, then look for businesses that already are paying for services or already are in the place that can invest in themselves or their business. And that's what I started doing this year, and that strategy has been working well too.
Yeah, I love all of those strategies. And the speaking one is one of my favorites as well, because it just gets you in front of them and they get to see and hear you, which really does build that know, like, and trust factor way faster than any other method, I believe. So I love that you're dipping your toes into that. Now, I know that you have developed the Olympic gold medal testing framework for helping lowering and reducing ad costs. We're not going to dive too much into that today, but QUAY.jo and I did another episode where we dove really heavily into that. So if you are interested in the idea of running meta ads, you have got to go listen to that episode. I will link it in the show notes because you're going to get so much gold out of it. We went in so many different ways and talked all about ads. Now, as we're kind of winding down, I'd love to hear if someone listening is just getting started out. This may have to do with we can dive into your framework a little bit here if we want to, but if they want to dip their toes into ads, what's the first step that they should do this week to prepare for it?
Very first step, just do the simple math. Whatever your offer is, however it's been selling, try to calculate. It could be over a 3 month period, over a 1 month period, whatever makes sense, or per webinar launch. Just try to calculate how many eyeballs or leads going into your offer does it take to generate whatever amount of revenue and get that earnings per lead. Be conservative when you calculate your earnings per lead because guess what? If it's like over $15, if it's over $20, then you're on your way to being able to run ads. Because let's just say, and of course, I don't know anything about your business. This is no guarantee. Do not blindly trust a random Facebook and Instagram ad manager that you heard on a podcast. Do the math yourself. But what I'm seeing is in general, we can get a cost per lead for, let's say, conservative, under $7. And so just do that simple math and see how good of a chance you have, you know? And then, well, I wouldn't say chance. Yeah, I'll just use that word. So do the math. And if you can see like a profit gap, I'm holding my hands up here, like earnings per lead up here, cost per lead down here, then yeah, go ahead and start Facebook and Instagram ads because you deserve to increase the reach of people that you can help and help more people. It's like, I believe that you are blessed with a God-given gift and passion and skills, and there are people literally waiting for you to show up and kind of affect that transformation in their life that you are uniquely, can give. And so, yeah, do the math, do the work, and then run the ads. It will make the biggest difference in your business if you approach it the right way. And as far as this Olympic gold medal testing framework, we won't get into it. I will say, high level, when we watch the Olympics, we expect the best and most exciting finals because the best people, the fastest of the fastest swimmers or athletics at track and field runners or sprinters or pole vaulters are going to be in the final. And the reason they are there, well, was one, they trained so hard, right? But two, it's because they went through the qualifying heats and then the semifinals and they made it to the finals, right? They're there because they competed against others. And so every time I start off ads in a client account, I look at the components of the ad. And what I encourage you to do is do the same: ad copy, visuals, headline, and the audience targeting. And then I have several competitors in each component, you know, 5 or 6 or 7 graphics to start off with, 3 pieces of ad copy, 5 different headlines, and I'm prepared to do different audience targeting. And I test those components in a systematic way such that at the end, kind of like the Olympic finals, I know, and I want you to know that you have 3 to 4 ads that are combined of all the winning components, the winning ad copy, the winning graphics. And then you can be confident that you actually have got ads that are attracting the highest quality leads at the lowest possible cost. And that benefits your business and gives you more profit, which is what you need. Your future clients want you to be more profitable. Your family wants you to be more profitable. Like, let's go.
So good. That was a great breakdown. So if you're going to want to dive in, go listen to the full episode about that. Now, QUAY.jo, you do have a resource for everyone listening as well. Your ad testing cheat code. So tell us a little bit about that and then how they can get it.
Ah, so if you want to take the shortcut, again, nothing guaranteed, but I've seen a lot of students in this ad testing cheat code cut their lead costs down by 25 to 30%. There are some students, the ones who have shared with me at least, there's a
Mhm.
lot more people who take a course than ever give a testimonial, but there are some that have cut their lead cost up to 60%. The ad testing cheat code is the framework that I just gave you, the Olympic Gold framework, but in detail, step by step through the 4 phases: ad copy, visuals, headlines, and audience testing, broken down so you can follow it in your own ad account and reap the benefits. Plus, I have actually recorded myself doing the exact same things in client accounts. Their information is all blurred out, so you can't know what business it is, but you can see me rolling with the punches that Meta, Facebook, and Instagram ads will always throw at you. We think, kind of like weight loss, we think it's going to be a smooth process, but there's always kind of ups and downs and hiccups because of real life. And you get to see me rolling with those punches too. And it just works so well. And so that's normally $37. And for you, because you're listening to Gabe's podcast, you can get it for just $1. And I believe everybody deserves to get the highest quality leads at the lowest cost possible. So go for it.
Yeah, I love it. And we'll leave the link in the show notes so you can easily grab that resource. I grabbed it and was able to use it for my spring conference to test out meta ads. So it was definitely very helpful. Now, as we wind down, I'd love to hear, what does pursuing goals God's way look like for you right now in your life and business, QUAY.jo?
Ooh, pursuing goals God's way. It's not the YouTube videos that I try to watch. It's not the books that I try to read because I don't read all that many of them. Pursuing goals God's way is trust and consistent prayer and reading my Bible, meaning that I have this brain that God gave me and it comes up with ideas. Some of those ideas through, let's say, talking to my wife, get tossed out because they're trash ideas, and other ones stick around. And so when I say trust and consistency, like, I trust in the capabilities that God blessed me with and the brain that He gave me. And so I try to apply wisdom to that. But pursuing goals God's way means that I also trust in the fact that through daily communion, fellowship, oh, those are like super spiritual words. Okay, I just mean daily, like praying, committing a moment of my morning to pray, and then committing another moment of my morning and or evening to read like the Bible, God's word, because like the cool thing about the Bible is it's very clear. God is very clear in his word that like if you read the word of God, it separates. And in the Bible, it uses terms like, let's just say between spirit and soul, our own thoughts and God's thoughts. And so I trust that like if I'm seeking out God and he promises that if I seek him, I will find him. And if I'm reading his word, so I'm not just up here in like kind of what could be woo woo without being grounded in the word of God, that my ideas are kind of conforming and getting more in line with his ideas, his plan. And so that is how I pursue personally goals God's way.
So, so good. I love every bit of that. Now, for those who want to connect even further with you, what's the best place for them to find you online?
Well, the Art of Online Business podcast, that is where if you want to know mainly about Facebook and Instagram ads, oh, it's exciting because it's been a big shift recently. Like in the past 3 weeks, Gabe, more episodes are about Facebook and Instagram ads, and I have been I've been recording episodes with guests who run Facebook and Instagram ads successfully in their business, and the listeners so far have enjoyed because they told me, because I poll them, they love peeking into other folks' Facebook and Instagram ads funnels. So that is going on. And then every once in a while, like once a month, I will invite different guests on to have like an easy dinner table kind of conversation about a specific subject, like how to make a lead magnet that grows your business. Great for course creators, but the guests can speak to that topic from different specialties.
Mhm.
Like one is a sales copywriter. I, of course, am a Meta and Instagram, like Facebook and Instagram ad manager, and another guest might be a business coach. And so together, we just pack in so much value to these episodes that help course creators scale up from mid four-figure months to high six-figure years.
Love that so much. And I love actually I love hearing coaching calls essentially on podcasts, but I also love hearing case studies. So hearing how people are doing the thing right now and the success they're having, because
Yeah.
it really helps you dive in and go, okay, this is real. I could make that work, or just see ourselves in the picture. So I really like that you're doing that in your podcast.
It's
Yeah.
it's just so fun. It's great for me too, but it's really if we can see something working, it really does help us start to generate ideas about how it could work in our own business. So it's part motivation and then many parts strategy. And there's just so many things that are working. It's like, don't listen if somebody like wants to be a naysayer and say that Facebook and Instagram ads was before, but it's not now. No, 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 no. It works right now. I have plenty of clients who it's working for. That's why they pay me month after month to manage their ads. I just hopped off of a coaching call actually with a lady who reached out to me because she took the ad testing cheat code course and she has a $7, she's in the UK, so a £5 membership. And she was elated because she started using my ad testing framework. And she now, well, last week, literally last week, Gabe, Wednesday, she is getting like 5 to 7 signups for her membership from ads. And before she had tested ads and it never worked, but then she started doing it my way and it worked. And she's on cloud nine because she's profitable with her ads just off of that first month of membership purchase. And then the rest is just gravy because people stay in her membership for a whole number of months. And so it's ads are working. It just takes some work, but ads are working. So I'll leave it there.
That's awesome. Well, actually, it's kind of funny because I was going to go there and ask about memberships. Can
Oh,
memberships work on an ad and
sure.
whatnot? I'm so glad you brought that up. So they can.
They can. I mean, look, this is your episode. If you want to go a little longer and pick my brain on memberships, like wherever you want, I got answers. So,
Yeah. Yeah, I love it. Now, okay, I'll pick your brain on one question about memberships because I
okay.
know our episode is going a little bit longer than I normally do, which is fine because I love talking to you about this. But I have a membership. It's a very low no ticket membership, but I was curious about that. Like maybe I want to run ads to it. So maybe in her case, was she doing it to a lead magnet that moved into the membership? Is she doing it straight to memberships? How would you recommend doing the membership ad?
Memberships are very tough. uh, Whatever you try in ads, double down on your messaging and find those resonating pain points. Like people join a membership, you could solve five of their pain points, but not every pain point will convert equally, meaning you got to research and figure out what those frustrations are that really convert. All that's to say is she was running ads directly to her membership. You could try it to remind me how much yours is?
Mine is 20 a month, or there's a 6 month subscription.
Okay, so you can try it to 20 a month. The hurdle that all membership owners have to overcome is you deliver value. People that are exposed to your membership just see a recurring cost. It's hard. Uh, so try it first of all, see what it converts at, and then she didn't have to because her membership was super cheap, but you may look at assuming we've done all the work for messaging and ads, right? You may look at using some sort of deadline software countdown timer with integrity, meaning that the deadline is true, like deadline funnel, for example, and give somebody an introductory discount off of the
Mhm.
first month. I wouldn't do like 2 months. Um, you may if you know these are other numbers in the equation, but if you know your churn rate, as in like what percentage of people churn out of your membership every month, and you know the lifetime membership value, as in and the number of months that somebody stays in on average, then you could calculate how much each new member is worth. Okay.
Mm.
So let's say that you know each new member is worth, I'll just for quick numbers, if you know each new member is worth $300 to you, okay, cool. Then if those members are worth $300 to you, but you're running ads directly to your membership and you're running them at a loss, as in you're not making money on that first purchase, you're losing money. But then you know that if you just hold on and keep doing it, each one of those people eventually is worth $300 to you, and you do the math, then that equation still works on the back end, long tail, if you will. On the front end, you just have to maybe have saved up enough money so that you can bring in the leads or the new customers into your, we're going to call it a membership funnel, but just straight into your membership, knowing that on month two or month three, you break even. So the business is still growing. You're just having to invest more upfront and wait. I mean, hello, that's how lots of businesses run
So
in
true.
the real world. And there's plenty of tactics that you can do. I'll give you to help the front end cash, which is I'll give you one. When somebody comes into a membership and you provide a stellar onboarding process that will help lower the amount of people that stop your membership because it increases the amount of people that get results right away. Well, I guess this is two because I just gave you one. The second thing is right at the end of their first month when they're going to renew, da-da, an email shows up that offers them a discount off of that annual membership. So maybe if they upgrade, well, not maybe, but if they upgrade right away, at the end of month one to an annual membership, they get 2 months free. And what that helps is it gives a lot more cash to the business owner to you upfront, which can make that whole Facebook ads and Instagram ads into membership equation work out more favorably. All I want to say is it is possible. I want to encourage you that it is possible. It just takes looking at that equation, a bit of math, and juggling or playing with the variables, improving the numbers that matter. But absolutely, most of the people, when I saw them on the inside of that high level coaching mastermind program, they watch their numbers like a hawk. They're very clear on their numbers, and most of them were running ads. Um, Even the ones that had a huge organic following, you might think, oh, yeah, they have like 200,000 followers on Instagram. So clearly they're not running ads. Actually, even those folks too are running ads because it was working well organically. They tried ads, they realized it converted well, and then they wanted to serve more people. So they ran more ads. I'll stop there.
Okay, I love it. Well, thank you for going there with me and talking about it a little bit. There's so many directions we could go, but I have just
Yeah.
enjoyed this conversation. So, all of you listening, go grab the ad testing cheat codes from QUAY.jo. Go check out the Art of Online Business podcast. You won't be disappointed. Thank you so
Mhm.
much for sharing your journey with us and how you got into meta ads and how you have optimized it in your own business. I've appreciated having you.
It's been an honor to be here. Thanks for giving me a quick little space just to share my heart and be kind of sincere about this incredible journey I've been on.